A new report has found that climate change-related misinformation has skyrocketed on Twitter since Elon Musk's takeover of the social media platform. Researchers with the Institute for Strategic Dialogue, a London-based nonprofit, found that a search for the word climate on Twitter and the first automatic recommendation isn't climate crisis or climate jobs or even climate change, but instead climate scam. For more, I'm joined by the author of this report, Jenny King. Jenny, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you for having me. It's a really important issue.
It sure is. Give us a sense of what you found in this report in terms of climate denial and what these platforms are doing, if anything, to tackle the issue.
So in recent years, we've really seen an evolution from outright climate denial to subtler attacks or attempts that are designed to delay climate action, what I would call exploiting the final mile between achieving consensus on the problem of climate change and actually implementing the kinds of policies and legislation that are necessary to tackle it. What we found in this research and across 2022 is a very stark resurgence of the kind of language that is really reminiscent of the 1970s, alleging falsely that climate change is a hoax or a scam, or implying that there is a lack of agreement amongst the scientific community about its causes and impacts. And those falsehoods have really been updated for a modern audience by bleeding it into a much wider conspiracist frame, talking about climate change as a global elitist plot, and that kind of content is rife across social media. So in just July to December 2022, we found over 350,000 mentions of the term climate scam on Twitter alone.
Wow. And when you have somebody like Elon Musk who takes control of Twitter and promotes this kind of dangerous rhetoric, that certainly doesn't help, does it?
Well, the problem certainly predates Musk, but I think what we can say is that there has been a shift in terms of turbocharging some trends that were already existing on the platform. So, for example, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube have all had problems in the past with verified or blue tick status, particularly Twitter and Facebook. And some of the key amplifiers that are gaining the most high traction content in terms of climate mis and disinformation are afforded that status. Now, what's changed since Elon Musk came and took over the company is obviously that people are able to purchase those blue ticks via the Twitter Blue service. And what we've seen is that some of the most prolific climate disinformers who in other parts of their content also promote extremist conspiracy theories and disinformation on elections, migration, COVID-19 and vaccines have not only been replatformed, so allowed to come back after previous bans, but that they have availed themselves of this new Twitter Blue service, and that gives them even more visibility and influence on these kinds of conversations on the platform.
Right, and social media is such a powerful tool, but I mean, it can also be incredibly dangerous, as you highlighted. So what needs to happen to help change this massive surge in misinformation and disinformation?
Well, the first is that there need to be policies that explicitly highlight climate mis and disinformation as a distinct threat. At the moment, Twitter, for example, has no explicit policy that is aimed at tackling this problem. In theory, outright climate denial would be included under their broader content moderation policy in their terms of service, but enforcement is patchy or lacking at best. There are other platforms then like Google or Facebook where theoretically some kind of policy exists, but it's either littered with loopholes, poorly implemented, or seemingly ineffective from the kinds of data that we're pulling on a month-on-month basis. So Meta, for example, is meant to have a policy where if their own independent third-party fact-checkers label an account as posting false information multiple times, that the platform will take action on that account. And what we've seen time and again is that not only does that not happen, but that many of those accounts are afforded verified status. They boast millions of followers, and they post some of the highest traction content on this issue. So the first thing would be to put policies in place and to make sure that they are properly enforced. And I think the second, when it comes to big tech, is really transparency about the scale and the severity of this issue across their platforms and services. And in particular, the way that they are continuing to allow the monetization of climate denial through the outrage economy, through advertising and other services and products.
Okay, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your insights, Jenny King. We so appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Take care.